These are 5.9 notes for long division. So I'll do a few examples. This example, we want to try to match 6x cubed, so we say 3x times 2x squared will give us that. So 2x squared times 3x, 6x cubed. We subtract, those cancel. We drop down the 3x squared. 3x times x gives us 3x squared. We subtract, those cancel, drop down the negative 12x. And then 3x times negative 4 will give us a negative 12x. Those cancel to 0, so this is my final answer. Also do b over here. So I need something that matches 12y to the fourth. So 4y times 3y cubed will get me there. So 3y cubed times 4, 12y to the fourth. We subtract, those cancel, drop down the 16y cubed. Next, I multiply it by a negative 4y squared. Negative 4y squared times 4y gives us negative 16y cubed. This time when I subtract, but a minus and a negative become a positive, so this also cancels. Drop down the 20y squared, and then the last term right here is going to be a 5y. That gives me 20y squared, subtract, and I have a remainder of 0. So moving on, more complicated problems. We are going to do possibly 2 from this side. So with this one, I draw a little division box. The first polynomial goes inside the division box, and the last polynomial goes outside the division box. So again, the only thing different here is I have 2 terms. So I try to figure out x times what number will give me 2x squared. That is going to be 2x. So when I multiply, I take this times both of these terms. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is a 6x. And then whenever I subtract, and basically I have to subtract all terms. So I'm going to subtract the minus 2x squared, and I'm also going to subtract the 6x. So basically I change the sign of each. These cancel. This gives me a positive 4x. I drop down the 12. And then again, I look at 4x and x. So x times what gives me 4x? That's going to be a 4. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 3 is a positive 12. Again, I subtract all terms, so minus there and a minus there. And so everything cancels. I'm left with 0, so my final answer is 2x plus 4. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip down to the bottom right. This one will have a remainder. Again, first polynomial inside the division box. This is outside. And again, I look at the first 2 terms, x and x squared. So x times what gives me x squared? That's just x. So I multiply this x times both of these terms. So that gives me x squared minus 5x. When I subtract all terms, I take the opposite of all terms. So those cancel, and this leaves me with a positive 2x. And I drop down the 6. And then again, x times what gives me 2x? That's a plus 2. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 5 is a negative 10. I subtract all terms, minus and a plus now. Those cancel, and I'm left with a positive 4. So this is the remainder. So the way we write that is we come up here and we do a fraction bar. The remainder goes in the numerator. What we divided by goes in the denominator. Okay, and then let's go to the back side. do this one right here. So what we look at is the exponent on the polynomials. This has 3, 2, 1, and then none. And then this one has 2 and none, so this is missing the x term. So if you're missing a value based off the highest degree, then this is what you do. So not missing anything from this polynomial, so it stays the same. But we are missing something from this polynomial, and that is the x term. So we put 0x in there just to make things line up nice and neat here in just a second. Okay, so if you're missing a term, okay, then go ahead and write it in. Okay, again, I look at the degree of the term for it. Okay, so x squared, we need to get it to 8x cubed. So how many times does x squared go into that? That is going to be 8x. So then 8x times x squared is 8x cubed. 8x times 0x is still 0x squared now, and 8x times 3 is a 24x. I subtract all terms. Okay, so that cancels. This leaves me with 5x squared, and this leaves me with a negative 12x, and then I go ahead and still drop down the 10. So then again, x squared goes into 5x squared. How many times? 5 times. So 5 times x squared, 5x squared. 5 times 0x is 0x. 5 times 3 is a 15. I subtract all terms. So that cancels. This gives me negative 12x, and this gives me negative 5. So this is my remainder. We just learned how to write a remainder, so the remainder goes up top, and what we divided by goes in the denominator. So that's my final answer. And then I'll do one more with a trinomial here. So we have our division box. X cubed minus x squared minus 21x plus 45, and then x squared plus 2x minus 15. Again, how many times does x squared go in there? X times, so x times that, x times 2x, x times negative 15. I subtract all terms, so that becomes minus, minus, and this one becomes a plus. Okay, that cancels. This becomes negative 3x squared and a negative 6x. Drop down the 45, and then I need to get to negative 3x with x squared, so that gives me a negative 3. So then negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times positive 2x, negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative 15 gives me a positive 45. I subtract all terms, so that becomes positive, positive, negative. Cancels, cancels, cancels. That's my answer. Okay, and I'm not going to perform this one. I'm just going to show you how to set it up. Again, this one's missing term, so this is missing the x squared and the x term. This is missing the x term. So when I set this up, I have x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 9. Okay, and then over here I have x squared plus 0x plus 1. So what's in orange is what I fixed, is what I'm missing. I'm missing the x squared term, I'm missing the x term, and then I'm also missing the x term over here. So that's how you would set it up, and then you would work it just like all the others.